Welcome to Eye of the Storm. Never forget that we are the storm because we're standing together, organizing a revolutionary movement. I have a very special guest back with me today, Ryan Matta, to talk about his documentary about CPS exposing the biggest child trafficking network in the world called Never in America. Welcome back, Ryan.
Audra, so excited to be back. It's always a pleasure, my old friend. So many good memories with you. I feel like we've been partners in crime for a decade with all the shit we went through in the last couple years.
I know, it's great though, and I'm so excited that you're doing this because it's so important. And I do want to bring our Heavenly Father into the mix really quick before I share your trailer, and then we'll get into it. But dear Heavenly Father, we come before you, and as always, I'm just so thankful for this opportunity to come before the people. Thank you for bringing Ryan back on my show, Father, to share such an important topic, Father. So many eyes need to be open to this. May you give your children the eyes to see and the ears to hear exactly what is going on, and to have the discernment to understand that what they believe to be reality is something other than what they know to be the truth, Father. And so may this open up the door to more and more exposure. May you just put a hedge of protection around all of us that are exposing this, and just continue to draw light onto this so that we can bring the children back to their families and stop this child trafficking network in its tracks, because we know this is spiritual wickedness and it's enveloped our entire nation. And that's why it's so important to turn to you, Father. And so I just ask that more people will come and lay their cares and concerns at your feet and know that you're the only way through this. So I just thank you and praise you in your precious name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, so I'm excited to show this, and then we'll get into it because this is so great. Okay, here we go.
Say it's the greatest fear of parents to have their child taken from them. How in the world does it happen by force at the point of a gun?
It's in for what? We're not going to screw with you, you understand? Come on. Get out of the car.
Hey, you can't leave me.
Give me the baby, okay?
I can't.
This one really made my stomach sink.
I can't even believe this story.
Cyrus, the 10-month-old baby who's been kidnapped, stripped from his loving parents by CPS.
No, go in the car. Cyrus. In the car. It's all right. It's okay.
Cyrus.
It's okay. It's all right.
Cyrus.
No, go.
I don't want anybody to have to endure this.
The Baby Cyrus case was the second most viral case in American history regarding CPS.
The media is not really covering this because this is, in fact, medical kidnapping.
They claim that baby Cyrus was underweight.
The kid has lost weight.
Take the baby away.
Get the baby out with CPS to the foster parents.
They were willing to release baby Cyrus to a foster family.
I won't let him go.
Okay.
It offers financial incentives to the states that increase adoption numbers.
There's billions of dollars to be had just from the federal government if you take the kids out.
They are profiting off of it.
There's nothing more evil, there's nothing more wicked than what I call child profiting systems.
Once a child is legally kidnapped, the child is far more likely to suffer abuse.
The most dangerous place to be for a child is in the government custody.
He literally has missed out on his childhood because of this.
In 10 months, I've never seen my grandson like this ever.
They just didn't even properly care for him.
It just looked like he was half dead.
That's the care that these animals are saying.
Protesters taking sides in a child welfare case.
We need more people out here. We need more people to stand for this.
I was extremely naive, and I thought there's no way that my son would be taken from me.
These are loving parents. They followed every instruction they were told, and they're being treated like criminals.
These parents, trapped in the system, become like refugees. They do not know what to do, and the loss of their children is devastating.
No man lives in freedom if you live under the constant threat of your child being taken away from you by force.
I'll do anything for Cyrus, for my son. I'll do anything for him.
I've seen this so many times. I can't be that next person. I can't.
Wow. And the documentary is so powerful. I'm so glad you did this. What is happening is so egregious. Sorry.
It's okay.
It's It's crazy what's happening, and it's so important to bring light to it because they want to bury it like no one's business under confidentiality. And that's why I want to say thank you for adding Malika and Zaya towards the end. It was such a blessing, and the family thanks you for doing that in there, the segment that you had from San Diego. So I appreciate that. But I mean, tell me how do you feel about, what you've uncovered?
It's like, it's just, it just doesn't get any, like, nothing's going to change, right? Like, that's it. I mean, America is so cooked when they are kidnapping your own children, when they are using lawfare to silence you, when they are gagging you, when the United States government can come to your house pretty much and steal your child at the point of the gun and then give it up for adoption and destroy your child's life and almost guarantee that your child's going to be a sex slave for some sick pedophile at some point in their life because you're putting them into this system. And gosh forbid the poor children that get taken at a month or 2 months or 5 months and get adopted out to these gay couples. It's this most sick and satanic and disgusting and vile, wretched piece of our entire government. And Trump's solution, when I first released this trailer, I felt like I had to go to El Salvador just to release it because I felt like if it started going viral, like it did, and start trending on X, that I was going to get killed before I was able to release the film, right? So I went to El Salvador, it starts going viral, and then 24 hours later, after it's trending #1 on X, Trump holds this random press conference and starts talking about how like a country is defined on like by the Bible and what the children represent. And it's like, and then the next day, Rep. Nancy Mays comes out with this half-ass like solution by that Melania is like leading the charge on this. And it's like, you're going to get an iPad and you're going to get a government job. So you mean to tell me that you're going to rip my child out of my arms that I love at gunpoint. You're going to gag me. You're going to silence me. You're going to put me in prison if I try to fight for my child. Then you're going to give my child, and you're going to put them into an environment where they're guaranteed to get sexually abused, raped, and molested. And your thank you is here's an iPad and a job at the post office. Oh, thanks, Melania. Oh my gosh, you totally you healed my soul with this job. What am I going to do? Pack some packages and just get over it? Like, it's the biggest slap in the face for this system. And it just shows how fucking clueless this administration really is. They have no idea what this machine is. And gosh forbid, if it was one of their children, the entire country would burn to the ground. They would literally go to war. If somebody took one of Trump's children and put them into the environment that we put these children in CPS and the foster care into, he would start a world war with any single nation or any single business or organization or entity that did that to one of his children. But when it's our children, it's shut up, pay your taxes, here's a gag order, congratulations, thanks.
Right. Well, and think about, RFK and talking about HHS and with the illegal unaccompanied alien children, right? So he's like, HHS is like the biggest facilitator. Yeah, sorry, my computer's doing something weird. Through HHS is what all this happens with. So it's like you guys sit here and you want to act like you're going to call that out when you're the biggest facilitators of not only the unaccompanied alien children that come across the border, but the American children that are here. And you guys refuse to acknowledge it because it is such a lucrative business. Like, why would you stop? Right? They don't have any intention. They sit here and claim like they'd like to reunify. I don't know if on Saturday was like the national adoption, like they were having many adoptions. In San Diego, they had 39. And many other cities, they were, or counties, they were talking about it. But it's like this, if you understood what was happening there, you wouldn't be praising this and acting like this is something that is actually good for kids.
No. And look at, there's an 800% or 700%. I think I might be saying that wrong. I think it's 7. So it's 7 times more likely. So 7% or 700% or 800% higher probability that your child, if taken from the foster care system, is going to be adopted out to a gay couple versus if a mother just goes to the hospital and I just want to give my child up for adoption. She's picky, she's choosy, she doesn't want. And who would want? Most mothers are like, I actually want to give the best. Like, I can't raise my kid, so I want to give it the best life possible. And not one person outside of lunatics look at these gay couples and is like, yep, that's where I want my kid to go. Like, that's the alpha male. That's the role model I want in my kid's life. Drag queen story hour. Yeah, please take my kid on a play date. No, nobody ever. So they kidnap your child. And then after they kidnap your child, they take full rights from you. They just go ahead and adopt it out. It's like taking your kid and putting it as witness protection. You never see it again. Before you might never know it unless you really look like your child. But the amount of stories that evolve over the next 20 years when these kids grow, like get away from these gay couples, become adults, and they start telling these horror stories of what they went through 18 years ago at the behalf of our government. I mean, it should be the biggest lawsuit ever for these children who get adopted
Oh yeah.
couples and get molested. It should be $1 billion lawsuit against the state. Instead, it's going to be $1 billion lawsuit against you or I for speaking out and calling it out,
That's right.
right? That's where
That's
we're
right.
here.
I know, and it's ridiculous because there'll even be actually foster parents who have adopted kids or fostering them, and they'll be taken away if they don't want to push the gender ideology, and if they're Christian and they're not willing to toe that line. Like, so that's what's sad too, is there will be good people that could potentially provide a good home, and they won't even allow them to do it because they would rather send them to a gay couple like that because it fits the narrative. Right. And it's like when kids go in and they are being abused, they give them psychotropic drugs to shut them up. They literally do, and give them behavioral health therapy with like the things that they do because they're like, you're not transitioning well. Well, what child, when they're taken and ripped apart from their family, is going to transition well? And the fact that you have to give them behavioral health therapy in order to make it go well shows that there is a problem. But they look at that as like it's another money-making opportunity. It's another little, part of that conveyor belt where you can just latch on, as much money as possible. And the amount of like help they give to these people over like a family trying to stay together is astronomical.
Right. Yeah. If the government was giving me an extra $3,000 a month to take care of my kid, I don't know if there would be any problems in the house. Right. Like, so, it's like, oh yeah, you're going to take my kid and then you're going to give whoever's taking it, you're going to give them food stamps, you're going to give them government assistance, you're going to give them a couple $1,000 cash every month. You're going to make sure that their doctor's payments are paid for, that their dental is paid for, that everything that kid needs is now going to be paid for by the state. Well, maybe just maybe if you would have did that for both parents in our home, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. But if you're an illegal immigrant and you come across the border with a child, you're going to get $4,400 a month of universal basic income. If my car is an impound for longer than 21 days, you're probably going to get my ride. You're going to get a 5-star hotel, all meals paid for, taxes, I don't doubt you'd pay taxes. You're not even making enough income. You're not even making any income. You're just getting my income. And I've already paid taxes on it for you. So you're probably going to get that for free too. Then you're going to get a 5-star hotel. You're going to get a roof over your head. You're going to get an open bar whenever you want it. And then if you don't like the food, don't worry. We'll sign a $5 million contract or a $50 million contract with a sub sandwich company to deliver you gourmet meals every day. But shut your mouth, you dirty Americans. Keep paying your taxes. And if we want your kid, we're coming for it. Welcome to the gold ages.
I know. Well, and think about how they're like, oh my gosh, these, families are being ripped apart. Everyone needs to identify it as an illegal because then it would actually matter. Then you guys would give a crap that that's happening. But it happens every day. And that's the thing. When I was looking into the UACs before, I saw all the foster care stuff. And I was like, that is so weird. So they're actually putting them in foster care as well, along with these children. So a bunch of those kids have gone through that system. And imagine how much more money they got for it because there's no one there to fight. You go through that process, you adopt them out, boom, wham, bam, thank you, man. That's what they want, is to get it done as quick as possible. So when it takes a while, they're just like, oh, you're putting a wrench in our plans. You know what I mean? Like, you're really getting in the way of this, especially with like exposure, the way that they hate it. It is like their kryptonite because you bring it out. And I feel like that's a way to stop it, is to continue to expose it as it's happening, because they run like, it's like holy water, And so it's interesting because of the things that they do. Like, I'll just tell you, even with like the sexual assault and stuff, I mean, they put in case records with me that I was coaching a 3-year-old basically to get her to report sexual abuse so that they can hide it from the record by painting me as like a child predator in a way and then burying it. But they'll take her testimony, and this is a 3-year-old, for saying that she saw her dad, which she hasn't seen him, but use that as a way to terminate. So the things that they do, the fraud that they enter into the reports, it's like, I knew that from like hearing stories, but then personally experiencing it, it is off the charts. And like the way that they talk about trying to protect the kids, it's detrimental to the children to, bring this up because they could have a date later on in life. They could be going for a job interview or whatever. And this could come out that they had a dependency case. And that's embarrassing. No, what's embarrassing is showing all of the fraud and illegal activity that you guys are doing for profit. This is cash for kids, 100%. And that's why you guys will do anything and everything to bury it. And that's why you know it's nefarious.
It's so disgusting, right? Like the sick, vile, degenerate, disgusting humans that are running our government are so corrupt. And that's what I say, like, like we were able to go stage those protests outside of Southwest key programs. Like
Yeah.
at this point, like you're watching all of these lawsuits go around. Like I don't even know if I would do it anymore. We would just be getting sued by exercising our First Amendment right. Like you have every right to, but they will now come and sue you because that's what's happening to baby Cyrus, right? Like the Rodriguez family, like they are getting crushed or attempting to. Like, I mean, the lengths that Diego's had to go to protect his family. Eamon Bundy, I mean, Eamon Bundy's lost $7 million because he had everything in his name and they came for him. And the judges, they create lawsuits. He tries to get them dismissed. And then if you get a thing dismissed or you try to file anything against it, that they're coming after you for the 5,000, they're going to come after you for an additional 5,000 because they had to get lawyer fees.
Right.
And it's your right and there's no trial, there's no bench, there's no jury of your peers. It's just you versus the judge, and the judge just signs it over. Yep. You're the bad guy. You're the evil person for fighting for your child. Like our system is so, again, it's just so rotted to the core, and there's nothing's going to save this, right? Like outside of complete radical, insane, like. If Elijah Safer, Sam Parker, or Kyle Seraphin loses these lawsuits, you are talking about the end of freedom here in America. Like I don't know how else to write it, but that's it. And like they're just lucky that like the Rodriguez family is. I don't know how they're going to stand. I don't know how they're going to survive. Like in this situation, I would just want to leave America and just never come back again and just say, you know what, fuck you. But where do you run to? How do you run when you can't start over? Like it's like here in America. Like this is why I say like, what are you doing after this? I'm like, I'm done.
Right.
This is my
no, I'm like,
I'm just fucking done. I've done everything I could as much as humanly possible. I'm gonna move out. I'm gonna move on. I'm done with politics. I'm done with all this shit. It's just like you can't do it. You can't do it in a country that's rotted at the core. So I'm just gonna sit here and shitpost about Trump and his shitty administration and watch this country burn to the ground because it's like that's all that's left to do. Like just sit by and just watch it eat itself because it's like, before it was just one person at random attacks here and they were small. And now it's groups. Now they're coming in droves, and it's just like you're gonna watch this thing implode until you're literally the UK and you're getting locked up for a tweet.
I know. Well, and it's crazy because it's like I mean, if people could understand, like the judicial system is meant to protect them. It's not like because people will be like, I don't understand why this happened. I'm like, it's built this way. Like it's built so that they can go in there, do these nefarious things, kidnap and traffic children, and be protected doing it. You can't go in there and say, oh, my rights are being violated. They're doing this and that. They're like, yeah, so what? I mean, they basically act as though your rights don't exist and that, you're kind of left up against a wall. So, I mean, it's intentionally that way. So there's no way for you to come in and fight that system because the system protects itself and not the people. And we pay for these people to do it. We pay for the, board of supervisors and HHS. And that's the thing. People need to be looking locally too. Like, look at your local government and how nefarious they are. I don't care how many, like I've been up to them an umpteen number of times and they'll sit there and tell me like, don't talk to the staff. They're the ones trafficking the kids. They're the ones signing off on those reports. They're adding all of that. And the thing is that whole trafficking network is within the county. So it's like county council who represents the county. They represent HHS and they defend all these social workers, right? But they sit up and they defend like the board of supervisors. And then you have HHS and like child welfare, whatever it's called in your area. And they're constantly bringing things forward. I mean, there's places in San Diego and around the nation that are like for foster care, and they've been known, just like with Southwest Keys, to sexually abuse children. And yet they come in and they'll get more money to continue the trafficking. And it's like, and knowing that that's happening, even this 11-year-old girl died in San Diego from starvation and being beaten up by her adopted parents. One of them was actually a Border Patrol agent and killed himself the day she died, but she was 48 pounds at 11 years old. And it's like, they don't do anything about it. Instead, what they do is they sit and they rebrand it. They rename the agency. So then it's like, we're transforming it. No, you're renaming it because you had such an egregious thing happen. Every time that happens, you do that. So it's just like an NGO going in and renaming themselves to do the same nefarious stuff that they've been doing all along to get more money. And it's like, so if people could see how tainted it is just on your local level, like then you could see that nationwide it's like that. But people don't even pay attention to what's going on in their local community, right? And it's like they don't even want to believe like this it's kind of stuff happens either, because they think child protective services, well, they deserve to have their kid taken. And then you see stories where they should have taken the kids and they don't.
Yeah, because they can't, because those kids are so broken and abused. They're not the beautiful children. They're not the brand new, fresh, well kept, well articulate, well spoken, well mannered babies that they can easily manipulate. Like the, your average pedophile, he doesn't want a radical dude that's going to bite his leg and rip his dick off. He wants the kid that's going to be timid and afraid and hasn't already been abused, so that way they can torture them. That's what these sick freaks get off on. That's what they want your children for, and that's why it's exactly why the crack babies get to go right back home to the dude and they end up dead a few weeks later. Well, they're already going to get killed. So like the whole purpose of them taking your kid is to torture your child and to torture you and to divide the nuclear family and destroy you and break you and bankrupt you. Because if you're 40 years old and they rip your children out of your arms and you spiral and overdose and die, you're one less person on Social Security. You're one less cog in the wheel. We got enough cogs in the wheel, right? We don't want you to make it to 70 or 80. And if we can shave 10 years off your life so you die 10 years younger, because you stress you out for a decade trying to fight to get your child, well, who wins? The United States government, Uncle Sam banking every time you die before you're 65 and can claim Social Security.
100%. But look, if you think about everything, it doesn't matter if it's homeless, children, elderly, animals, any soul that they can exploit, they will. And they'll sit and do it under the guise of protecting and providing something beneficial for you. In reality, it's always a business. And it's like, if people could literally see that, they would go, oh my gosh, maybe I'm not like, you have to like open your eyes, because that's the only way things will change, I believe, is that by people accepting this reality so that we can turn away from it. It's like everyone's just going all in, like that's just the way it is. There's nothing I can do. And I agree, like we're at a place where we can't get those people to do what they should be doing, but it can be us that changes from within and starts to go, I'm not going to put, the system exists and works or flourishes because people give it that power. It's just like these people, take that away from them. That's why they're afraid of us. I mean, don't you think like that would be, you don't, I know.
I just like, it's like we can sit here and bitch and complain and that's all that's going to happen. It just takes all the wind out of your sail. When we first started doing this, Audra, like 3 or 4 years ago, it was like we're documenting all of this because when Trump gets into office, we are going to clean house. Like I think, I don't know if you were in that X space with Bonnie, but I said this like 3 times in my interviews today. Like Bonnie's like, listen, nothing's going to change, guys. Like I've been through all these administrations under Trump. Like you might claim this, but it's not going to happen. I'm like, listen, Bonnie, you quit being a negative Nancy. Like, there's no way Trump's getting into office and we're not going to go and save these children. There's no way Trump's going to let his legacy be, 325,000 children were kidnapped by the United States government, molested, raped, and then thrown back out in the streets or just deported by Trump. And that's sure as hell what's happening. He's like, oh, if we just keep dragging our feet, every kid that's 17 turns 18, they're not our problem. Then we can just arrest them and deport them because they're here illegally, even though that they were a minor child when they got here and they ran away because they were getting sexually molested in a home we put them in. It's like, at some point, the American people, like, we need a massive sit-in. I think that's the only option. I think like either we get a Tucker Carlson, and then again, you're in the same boat where you're like, okay, so we're going to suck this up for another 3 years until we get a Tucker Carlson in office. And then when we get a Tucker Carlson, the CIA is going to figure out a way to blackmail, bribe, manipulate, or brainwash. I'm not past that they have technology that has the ability just to melt your brain, or they show you some type of future universe, where you're going to be dominant in. And like, we're just like, maybe we're all just living in a simulation. They just take you in this room. They're like, hey, here's reality. You can go down to the center of the earth once a weekend and you get to experience a life that nobody else has ever experienced. Like, this is where the real world is. All these people up here are just drones and slaves creating this universe for the people that live below us in the center of the earth or wherever, or beyond the ice wall. And they show them this and they're like, okay, like your job for the next, 12 years, we're going to give you eternal life, right? All you have to do is keep the drone slaves up there, drilling oil, whatever we're doing up here. They're harvesting our collective energy, our thoughts, our processes, our sweat, our equity. Somehow they're benefiting from us all being up here. And they take you into a skiff and they show you this universe that you're not part of. And you're like, oh, all I have to do is just play ball with this. And then you go from being ultra mega Mike to day one, I want to give Israel all your money. How did that work out exactly? Like, I don't know how they get these people to do it, but like, I'm not putting nothing is off the table at this point, right?
No.
Outside of the earth being a ball, that shit's not real. Like it's
Right.
flat as a
That's
door
for
or flat as a
sure.
wall.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it's interesting because with how much they hate exposure, I really do. I think like, bringing more light to it. And like you're saying, like sit in whatever it is, but it has to be the people as a group that make the change happen. Because again, we can't rely on, none of these people are going to do it. And I think that's what's good is if people can start to see, but accept it, because everybody's still kind of trying to hold on to what was so, and they don't want to believe that like Trump isn't who they thought he was. You know what I mean? So they're still kind of like holding on to, once they can let their reality shatter and accept where we're at, that's the only time things will change. And I believe that like with God, we can do it, because I know that we can move a mountain, but it's like, we have to also understand this is a spiritual thing. Like it's permeating every aspect of our lives. And I think that when we don't accept that or acknowledge it, then it can be hard to see why these people do this kind of stuff, because it's like I mean, there's influences that are happening outside of this realm, I'll say, that are in this realm, but like whatever, that spiritually. And so I think that that's why it's important to not forget that, because we also need spiritual weapons to fight it.
Yeah, we do. We do need spiritual weapons, and I don't know how we get access to them. It's almost like when you created something like abortions and you have the ability to harness all of that dark energy, and there's, women are literally on Facebook and social media platforms doing abortion dances and bragging about how they swallowed their child, and like it's so sick. And you think about how demonic that really is, and you
They
think
have
about
satanic ritual abortion. Sorry, go ahead.
satanic ritual abortions.
Mhm.
It's like these people are evil, 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 the worst of humanity. I don't know. I want to say that there's hope for the future, but it's like you really just, like once you leave America, like you're in this cesspool of filth, darkness, chaos, destruction, and you step outside of our country and you go to these other worlds and you're like, why doesn't it feel like the world's burning around me? Don't get me wrong, like you go to Madagascar and there's people that live in absolute poverty, squalor, things that you couldn't even imagine, and there is no hope, no light at the end of the tunnel. They are never going to earn their way out of that. So like you have this, I just see America becoming that in 10 years, 15, maybe 20. It could happen in 5 if the dollar collapsed, right? Could not happen at all. But I just feel like at some point, these other nations are developing at such a faster rate than us. You're going to have the El Salvadors, you're going to have the Dubais, you're going to have the Chinas, you're going to have these beautiful nations all over the world, and you're either going to be able to afford to travel to them or you're not. And if you're not, then you're a slave and you're stuck in whatever hellhole you are. And it doesn't really matter if you make minimum wage in America or you make $2.15 a day in Madagascar. You're dirt poor and you're a dependent. At least here, the government gives you some handouts and you can feed your kids, but you're feeding them like Lunchables and poison and gas station Cheetos and like McDonald's. It's like, I don't know. I don't see a good solution to any of this. And I just like, so it's so blackpilling. It really is. And I wish I could be on here just like gassing everybody up thinking, hey, but no, it's just not the case.
Well, I feel like this is usually where we're at. The last time, when we're talking about the invasion and child trafficking across the border, it's like we were kind of in the same place of like, how do you change it? You know what I mean? And now more is being exposed. So it's like that in itself is good, but I feel like it's just getting worse and worse and worse. Like, just the things that are happening. I wish what we could do is go back to that Child Protection Act, where it was like the states had to pay if they were going to take a child, right? Instead of getting paid through ASFA to take them, like they would have to pay if they needed to go in. So like it was saying in your documentary, right, that they didn't do it as much because they had to fit the bill. So things like that would have to totally be reformed. But like, look what happened to Nancy Schaefer. So, anytime you go in and try and change it, they're like, okay, you're done.
Yeah. So it's like, it's like the equivalent of like, if every state was responsible for giving out and finding the funding and financing their own food stamps, how many people in that state would be on food stamps? But when the federal government's getting the bill, it's everybody, right? So it's like how many illegal immigrants would be staying in your state if your politicians had to pay for them out of their own pocket. Zero.
Oh my gosh, none. Yeah.
It would be that you would have the most secure border in the history of the world. But when it's coming out of your pocket and your tax dollars and your dime, it's everybody's getting it, right? But
yeah.
And you just look at China, look at Japan, look at El Salvador. Look what happens in a country when they actually invest in their citizens. They invest in the infrastructure and they build out. And they take the criminals, the real bad guys. Say, hey, you want a day off jail? We'll give you 1 day off for every day you work out in the field. Okay, you got a 10-year sentence. You want a couple years off your sentence? Come out and work every day. Great. You can only do 5 years instead of 10. But for the next 5 years, you're out literally building roads and rebuilding the country that you destroyed. And then when you leave prison, you're going to be a foreman at whatever construction company you want to work at because you did it for the last 5 years. So not only do you come to prison, you get an education, you learn discipline, you learn a schedule, you learn how to behave, you learn how to manage yourself, learn how to work with others, and you develop a skill set. So when you go back into the real world, you're immediately employed and you've earned your keep. Like, I don't think in El Salvador, it's like, oh, we're going to keep it on your record forever. I mean, maybe it's on your record forever, but I don't think it limits you. Like here in America, it's like, oh, you get a felony, you go to prison. Now you can't buy a gun, you can't drive after dark, you can't do all these shit. It's like, dude, did I serve my time or did I not serve my time? I just went 20 years for murder, and now you're going to treat me like I've murdered somebody, but I'm not rehabilitated. Yeah, so it's just.
But it's a business. Think about that, like prison industrial complex. It's like it's a business to keep them in there, to get all the funding, to have them make their phone calls, to give them their, the pantry, all of those things. It's like everything that you would think would be beneficial is made for profit. And that's why they don't rehabilitate. That's why even like they'll put people in diversion programs to keep them on drugs and give the kickbacks to all of these people. Like in San Diego, I mean, our district attorney is so corrupt and she works all these angles. And it's like racketeering is happening on a massive scale all over the nation with our money. And it's like people sit and thank these people for spending it. And I'm like, if you just you should keep your money, first of all, because imagine if we could spend our money in our own community and you could decide where it went. Your roads would look good. Your schools would be great. Like everything would be going according to plan because you know where that money's going. Instead, people give it up to the government where then they come back and tax you more because all they're doing is giving everybody a pay raise to do nothing. And it's like, and the government just keeps growing and growing and growing, and they have more programs and more of this and more of that, and everything gets worse and worse and worse. It doesn't get better. It doesn't.
No, and nothing gets better. Nothing ever gets better in this country. It's so bizarre because our roads should be paved in gold.
Mm-hmm.
We should have zero debt. We should have the most advanced civilization in the history of the world. We should be curing cancer with vibrational frequencies. Cars should be running on water.
Yes.
We should be drilling and extracting enough oil to supply the entire world with $1.29 gas, and we should be getting filthy rich over it. We should go to these conglomerates, these giant mega oil corporations, and we should seize them from whatever rich elite family that owns them, give them to the government and say, here, government, you guys can take all of the profits from all of this oil that you now own and control in exchange for us not paying taxes. So we screw over one mega family that's buku rich, and we allow them to keep their assets. Like, that's the least we can do. Okay, you can keep your asset. That you're lucky. Okay, you get your $1 billion. Go walk away and now kick rocks. Now the American government is going to make the trillions of dollars. We're going to pay off our debt. We're going to allow our citizens not to pay taxes and thrive, and we're just going to get the hell out of the way. That's what you want a government to do. Like, imagine our founding fathers being like, yeah, you're going to, in 100 years, you're going to be getting sued into bankruptcy because you decided to protest outside of a hospital. Like, what? They would have burned the hospital to the ground and slaughtered everybody in it. Like, it's just like, yeah, our founding fathers fought a revolution over a 3% tax. And I'm obviously saying this shit metaphorically, not seriously, but they literally did. They fought a revolution over a 3% tax. And, now here we are getting taxed 53% of every penny we make.
Yeah. And they're trying to keep up with the cost of living. That's why I feel like even too, what about, going into making our own communities? You almost have to go back and be Amish. You know what I mean? Go back to something like that where the community supports each other. I mean, then the government becomes obsolete, but I feel like everyone's so used to all of the things, all the phones, everything. And so they love the technology, and AI's running our government. That our county is spending $1 billion on AI, and our homeless are suffering, babies are like everything. Like nobody has enough money to do anything, but they're going to go ahead and spend an eighth of their budget on that. So it's like, you know, I mean, who knows where we're headed with that, but I feel like people are falling into that whole technology thing. Like it's cool, like the biometrics, they don't understand where it's enslaving everyone. And if they could see that, they would want to turn away from all of the crazy things, you know, like if you knew your tax dollars were funding child trafficking, would you want to still pay that? Do you think that that's still logical, or should you put up a fight to go, I don't want my money going towards that? It's like nobody's willing to kind of step into in the line of fire and say, I'm done with you guys doing this. Everyone's just like, well, it's just easier to sit there and let it happen. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, Trump's selling citizenship. Like you can buy gold visas or instant citizenship here for $5 million. And it's like, okay, so wait, you're selling out the rights to the future of our children. You're selling our children's future for $5 million. How about this? We already have enough visas. We already have enough passports. Why don't you allow me to sell my American citizenship for whatever price I want? Allow me to sell it for $5 million. And then instead of the government getting the $5 million, you as an American citizen can say, yes, here, I'll forfeit my citizenship. Give me a 30-day buffer window. If you're giving me $5 million for my passport, I'll hand it over. And then you can resell my passport. So you could resell my U.S. citizenship somewhere else, right? And how many of us would be like, $5 million, we out. Give me $5 million for me, $5 million for my son. We're gone. Well, imagine how rich the rest of the world would get when we took all of our money and found the best country to park our capital in and invest in that country. It's like these third world countries would become, you know, powerhouses overnight. It would be insane. But instead, here we are here in America, you know, bending over and paying 53% in taxes while our government sells out our children's future. Great.
I know.
Welcome to the golden ages.
It's disgusting. Well, what is your what has the feedback been from, you know, people that like your interviews today and just in general, like from both sides of the spectrum?
You know, it's been really well received. I've been doing a lot. Like I'm willing to go on anybody's podcast. Doesn't matter if you have 5 followers, 5,000, 500,000, I'm going on all of them. And today I went on a lot of the mid-range and smaller range podcasts and a lot of them, honestly, I've never been on their shows before, which is pretty crazy. I would have thought that it would have been all the OG people that were like, oh yeah, Matta, you got a documentary, come on, let's get on. It was a lot of new people that have never been on before. So it's pretty shocking because they didn't even ever hear the story of HHS. And, you know, I've been on every podcast and told that story 10 times. And they've never heard it before. They had no idea. And it was just like watching them. One gentleman I interviewed with today from Your Glory TV is a pastor. And he's actually going to meet with Eric Trump in like 2 days. So he's like, hey, Ryan, I'm going to take this information. I'm going to sit down with Eric Trump. Be like, yo, what the heck is going on with this? It's the most disgusting animal in the entire world. Why are we allowing this to thrive? Why are we doing nothing about it? And he'll probably get some like, you know, like they get around these politicians, they get around Eric Trump. And it's like, oh, hey, bro, like we're boys, right? Like, I want Eric Trump's respect. So instead of just calling him out on it, you know, it's like when I was at Bitcoin Vegas last year and I was in a room with Don Jr. So I had this $10,000 bracelet that the Bitcoin conference gave me for speaking at their event. And I thought to myself, I could have brought a thumb drive here with the offshore bank accounts. And like next year, that's what I want to do is I just want to walk up with all of my films, all of my information, and just walk up to, like, if you get in a room and you're in room distance, just walk up and be like, hey, with my phone out, you know, like this, like, hey, Don, just want to let you know, man, how awesome I think you are, dude. You're the greatest, man. He's, oh, man, thanks. And when he goes to shake your hand, be like, oh, by the way, in my hand, here's a thumb drive with the Todd Robinson's offshore bank accounts. You know, the ambassador to Guatemala that was sexually abusing that had a 12-year-old boy at his house party, sexually abused so bad that he had to get hospitalized. Yeah, he worked for the United States government. Your father fired him once. But this was this news came out after the fact. So here's all the intel, and your father's back in office. You know, we get this man arrested and doing it live. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're recording it. Yeah. Imagine how viral that clip would go. Because it would be forced. I'm like, I'm handing all the evidence for this person to go to prison. And are you guys going to do anything about it?
Right.
But you're not. You're not going to. And then if you're not going to, and Cash Patel isn't going to, then what the hell is this? And how are we not just I don't know. I feel like I know. We'll get to this story. And
so get this. I know, and that's what's so crazy. But so I went to DHS, these guys in human trafficking, supposedly. And I'm like, they don't deal with human trafficking because they told me when I was talking about this particular story, the Robinson girls, the ones I was saying thank you for, and the sexual abuse that's being covered up. He was talking about when I first met with him, doing a forensic interview on the little girl and saying, send me all this information. So I do. And then eventually he goes, ma'am, I told you if there's any crimes, we'll go ahead and investigate. And what I've like looked at so far, there's no crimes. And I was like, what? Like he had been stringing me along for months. Then I met his partner just coincidentally at a friend's house. And I was like, oh, you work in human trafficking too for DHS? And I was like, do you know? And I said the guy's name. And he was like, yeah, I work in the cubicle right across from him. And I'm sitting there and I'm telling him, going through it, trying to do it fast. And he goes, yeah, I would think that that's a conspiracy too, and that you're crazy. And I was like, what? And I'm like, I mean, sure, it sounds like it, but if you're telling me that you deal with human trafficking, that shouldn't be sounding like a conspiracy theory to you, especially when your buddy wanted to know more and was like all about it. And then it was like all of a sudden they were gatekeepers and were keeping it back. And I thought, wow, you guys are worthless. Like, don't sit here and claim that you work in human trafficking when that sounds crazy to you. That's where we're at.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like that's exactly what sounds crazy to me, right? It's just I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know what happens. I don't know what needs to change. I just know that if every single American doesn't seriously get their head out of their ass, it's going to be your child. It's going to be it's going to be you next. It's going to be one of us next. And I don't know. I just feel like that if CPS shows up at your door right now and you don't have your cameras out, you don't have a filming, you don't have a retainer with an attorney, and you don't have everything that you need in place before you allow them to enter your home, you're going to lose your child. And then
don't let them in.
And then you're just going to destroy your life. So it's just like Diego and them, they're facing a $51 million worth of lawfare right now, enough to bankrupt them 100,000 times over. And like, you can't live a normal life when you're dedicating. Let's just say most people are working 60 hours a week. You don't have an extra 20 hours to dedicate to becoming a lawyer, right? Like you have to teach yourself law, you have to teach yourself legal system, you have to teach yourself how to file injunctions, how to hide your assets, and it just got to a point where it's like we are living in a totalitarian police state that, words can't even describe. I could talk about it all day, but I got to get ready for that big. We're doing a space tonight, so hopefully you'll come join us, Audra. We're going to be on Miss May's Love Space tonight, starting at 9 p.m. over on X. We're going to have the whole Rodriguez family and the Anderson family there to join us. So if you guys have any questions, you guys want to hear more from them, you want to learn about CPS, like I can just skim on the surface of it. I just know general bits and pieces about it. But Diego, this man is an absolute legend. He's dedicated literally the last basically 4 years of his life to relentlessly understanding. And he's got every book, every detail, every fact. He's got it all backed up on his website. They've came for his website. They've taken it down like 5 times. He's had to back it up and build it and give rights to somebody else so that they can run it from another third world country, because he can't be in his name, because they'll crush anything the guy has. And he has so much information, so much documented evidence, not just the CPS, but of trafficking in general, of the Clintons, the Epstein, all of it's on his website. He's just done such a great job, man. The guy's a patriot. I'm just sharing their story. Really, it's like these people deserve all the credit for everything that they've gone through, and hopefully something happens. They're such a God-fearing family, and it's like the Christians are the ones who are getting persecuted the most throughout all of this. It's like something has to change here, and hopefully the people are waking up and they're going to want to change it now.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you joining us, and I look forward to, just seeing this go. I'm going to continue to share it. I'll wind up posting it some more as well. And, it's always a pleasure to have you on and to see the work that you're doing. It's a blessing to all of us, because, this stuff needs to be exposed, and you're really good at your craft, and you do it in such a way that really paints a picture. And it's needed. So thank you so much.
All right, Audra, God bless you. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And hopefully we'll get on another one of these interviews here in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sounds good. All right.
Take care. Have a great night.
God bless. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I did want to say that, if CPS does come to your door, you should not answer it. You should get an attorney right away if you can, but make sure that you document everything and don't let them in without a court order, because a lot of mistakes are made. They will take and use anything and everything that they possibly can to use against you, to take your children and traffic them through the system, because at 15 months is when that adoption process starts. They don't have any intention of reunifying families, and it's very disturbing. But the more that we bring light to this and just uncover all of the darkness that they're trying to bury. And then people can see, and we can start to, as a collective, turn away from it. This is spiritual wickedness. And that's why I say turning to God is also very important, because he's the only way to get through this. So thank you guys for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that. Join me next time where I bring you more truth, love, light, a little bit of darkness in between, and all of the good things. God bless you guys. Take care. I'll see you again. Oh, and I forgot to play my music. It's been a while since I did a show. So anyway, hope you guys have a great day. Okay, bye.